What was the most unexpected thing done by someone you knew? I'm not saying I knew him on any sort of personal level, but I worked at a gas station in Winnipeg and was filling in at a different store for a month while they trained a new manager. My midnight guy was this middle-aged Asian man who kept to himself and meticulously cleaned the store every night. Perfect midnight employee. Manager was trained. I went back to my original store. Midnight guy eventually quits and moves to Alberta. A couple years later, I read about how he cut off some dude's head on a Greyhound bus just outside of Winnipeg.
That's pretty wild. I get how you could have seen someone as just a regular employee, then later find out they were involved in something horrific. It really shows how people can seem normal on the surface but have a whole other side to them. It's a chilling reminder that you never know what someone is capable of, even if you think you know them.
My dad robbed a Blockbuster that he worked at when I was like 10 and didn't tell any of us. One day I called the store to talk to him to see if he could bring me home Spyro for PlayStation, and the manager asked to talk to my mom. He then proceeded to tell us that my dad robbed the store a couple of days prior and was arrested. He kept coming and leaving the house as if he was still going to work all those days. Needless to say, the divorce happened shortly after. He also flew a lady out from SF that he met online, only to send her right back as she wasn't what he expected. What a dick.
That's a wild story. Your dad clearly had some questionable choices. It's crazy how he managed to keep that part of his life hidden for so long. The drama with the lady he flew out adds another layer. I can't imagine the shock for you and your family. Just goes to show how people can wear masks and not show their true selves. Things really turned sideways for everyone after that.
A colleague I've been working with for years, supporting her in 2 projects and working my ass off to get promoted. We had a good relationship too. During our last round of evaluation, I asked for a promotion to be on the same level as her roughly, thinking she would back me up. She didn't, even saying I wasn't doing well or wasn't working independently enough. I found out it was because she wanted to make sure I'd keep working for her. That was unexpected after 4 years of really helping her out.
That's a tough situation. It's surprising when someone you support turns out to be more self-interested. You think you know someone after years of working together, but then they pull something like this. It feels like a betrayal, especially when you expected them to have your back. I guess it's a reminder that not everyone values teamwork the same way. Now it's about figuring out how to move forward from here.
I bought a used car from a friend during college years who was himself a mechanic. The car looked like new. I thought I knew him well enough to take his word that the car was in perfect shape and not needing any money spent on it. Turned out that he used our friendship to unload a vehicle fraught with mechanical woes, including serious transmission repairs, brakes, and electrical issues.
It's always tricky when friends sell you something. I had a similar experience where a buddy sold me his gaming console, claiming it was in mint condition. After a week, it started glitching and freezing. Turns out he just wanted to get rid of it. I learned to be more cautious with such deals. Friendships and transactions don't always mix well. It's better to double-check, even with people you trust.
My friend got engaged. He's been very vocal in the past about not wanting to get married. And when our other friend got engaged after being with his GF for 6 months, this guy's went on a rant about how it was stupid to get engaged after such a short time. Well, come June, turns out he's engaged, has been for 6 weeks, and has only been with the girl since February. Oh, and she is his best mate's ex, and that relationship ended in Jan. The hypocrisy is staggering.
It's always interesting to see how people's views change when they find themselves in a similar situation. This guy had strong opinions about engagement, but once he got wrapped up in his own feelings, everything flipped. It's a reminder that often our beliefs shift based on personal circumstances. The whole thing does seem a bit twisted when you consider the history with his best mate's ex. Just shows how complicated relationships can get.
A friend stole £200 out of his best friend's wallet. They were like brothers. This was at another friend's wedding. He even helped look for the wallet when it was assumed lost. CCTV was reviewed the next day by the happy couple when they see him clear as day open the wallet, count the cash out and dump wallet in a bush. They then see him 45 minutes later find and then re-hide the wallet so it's in clear view, then ushers people to check another area again. Luckily, all was sorted the following day by wives and girlfriends, where he cobbled together a story about trying to stop him wasting his money. Maintained that story till he realized we'd seen CCTV. Hasn't apologized and lost a whole group of friends.
That's pretty messed up. I can't imagine being that betrayed by someone so close. It's wild how someone can act like a brother, then just turn like that. The lengths he went to cover his tracks are surprising. It's a shame it had to come to that. Losing a whole group of friends over a few £100 is not worth it. Guess trust really is a fragile thing.
My sister and I haven't voluntarily spoken to each other since I left home 15 years ago. No grand falling out. We just always loathed each other, and once we didn't have to live in the same tiny house together with our discipline-obsessed parents, we had no reason to have to associate with one another anymore. We've seen each other at Christmas at our parents' place, at a couple of family funerals, and we can be civil to each other. But she's always been pretty vile to me if we have to spend any time alone together. I tried reaching out a couple of times in my 20s, but she was just kind of shitty with me, so I left it alone. And then at the weekend, she emailed me to tell me she's making some changes in her life and regrets the fact that she doesn't know me at all, and that she wants us to try and forge a real sibling relationship, independent of our fucked up upbringing and the people that we used to be. I might be getting a sister, a proper sister. Smiley face.
That's an interesting situation. It sounds like a lot of unresolved issues are finally coming to the surface. It's not easy to change long-standing dynamics, especially after so many years. But on the flip side, maybe this is a chance for both of you to start fresh and understand each other better. It's good that she reached out. It'll take time, but it's worth exploring if you both want it.
My best friend through high school, college, for whom I was the best man at his wedding, and whose kids I babysat on more than one occasion, who never did drugs or drink excessively for as long as I can remember, decided one night to get behind the wheel drunk, and with a strange woman nobody in our circle knew, and drove into a ditch. The woman was fine, but he was taken to emergency room, suffered concussions, and later released. He hasn't been the same since, 2 years ago now, and a couple of months ago he got a divorce. I'm not privy to his family's details, but there was definitely some suspicion he might have been dealing with chronic depression, but he hid it really well.
It's tough seeing a close friend spiral like that. He seemed like such a steady guy, you know? One mistake changed a lot for him. It's wild how quickly life can shift. I remember thinking he was invincible. Now, there's this shadow over everything. It's sad to see him struggle, especially when we all thought he had it together. Makes you realize that sometimes, people are just really good at hiding their pain.
I've been dating this guy almost for a year. Besides dumb relationship problems, jealousy, talking to exes, etc., everything seemed normal. Him and his daughter lived with his dad in a big 2-story house. His dad worked a lot, made really good money. I would have definitely considered them upper class. So anyway, my ex had full-time a job. Hours were always different, but he'd go in almost every day. He would always tell me about his day, things he has to do at work, typical stuff. One day I get a call from my parents saying they were worried about me. They informed me that they saw my ex, who was supposedly at work at the time, outside standing in the medium of a commonly busy intersection. He had a sign and was begging people for money. I had come to find out he'd been doing that for years, never had a job the entire time we were together, and was just lazy. I was shocked at the time. Now that I backtrack, I miss the warning signs.
That's a tough situation. It's surprising how people can present one image while hiding another. You think you know someone, but then they reveal something totally different. It makes you question everything, especially when it's about trust. Sometimes those red flags are hard to see when you're caught up in it. It's a lesson learned, though. Always pay attention to what doesn't add up, even if it's uncomfortable.
My cousin, who's in his 50s, was having a rough time financially, so his parents, in their 70s/80s, I think, helped him move out of state to be closer to them, bought him a house and got him set up and get financially stable. Shortly after, he sold the house, pocketed the money, went on an around-the-world trip, during which time his dad died, and my cousin chose not to come home for the funeral. I never thought he would ever do something like this. I see him now posting pics from his trip on Facebook, having a grand old time. I feel bad for my aunt.
That's a tough situation. It's surprising how some people prioritize their experiences over family in hard times. Your aunt must be hurting seeing her son enjoy life while dealing with a loss. It's hard to understand his choices, especially after the support he received. Family dynamics can really change when money and travel get involved. I hope he realizes the impact of his decisions eventually. Life can be pretty complicated like that.
After my mom passed away, my dad got remarried in less than a year. Then when my sister was filling out a financial aid form for college, she asked if she needed to list him as a widower or remarried, and he dropped the bombshell on us that they weren't technically married despite having a ceremony and everything. They didn't sign the papers to make it legit because it was better for them insurance-wise. Now, they always take these expensive trips out of state and out of the country, and she quit her job. So I'm concerned she's just using my dad for his money, and he doesn't realize it because he's still shocked from my mom's death. He never any desire to travel to Vegas or NYC before, and now he seems all too happy to go blow his money there. But it's bizarre because his personality did a complete 180.
That's definitely a heavy situation. After losing someone close, seeing a rapid change in a parent's life can be confusing. It seems like your dad might be in a vulnerable place right now, trying to cope in his own way. The decision not to get legally married adds another layer, making it hard to know what's really going on. It's tough to watch someone you care about change like that without really knowing their reasons.
Worked with a guy for 17 years. We got along pretty good and were work friends. I always covered for him when he messed up or needed a day off or whatever. Never once complained to the boss about anything he did, even if sometimes I should have. Find out the last couple of years he had been running me down in front of our supervisor, and any complaints I had made about work between us he was running off to tell the owner.
That's rough. Spending so much time trusting someone only to find out they were talking behind your back must have hurt. It's hard when you support a friend, and they turn out to be more of a backstabber. It's frustrating to realize you were just a safety net for them. Dealing with that kind of betrayal changes how you see workplace friendships going forward. It's tough to navigate those feelings.
I was accused of causing about $20,000 of property damage, didn't do it, and told a friend of mine, let's call her Stacy, about it confidentially. One day later, most of my other friends knew about it, including my girlfriend, who ended up almost breaking up with me. Thankfully, most people Stacy had told the story aren't shitheads and proceeded to instruct her to fuck off. Stacy and I never spoke again. 3 months later, I was acquitted. The worst part was that she acted all self-righteous about it when I confronted her.
That sounds rough. It's crazy how quickly word spreads, especially when you trust someone. Stacy definitely crossed the line by sharing your situation. Friends are supposed to have your back, not throw you under the bus. At least you got acquitted, but losing a friend like that must have stung. Sometimes, it really shows who's in your corner when things get tough. Glad to hear the rest stood by you.
I thought she was my best friend. She asked me to be the godmother to her son. I said yes. About a month after the birth, we got matching tattoos for him, the baby. About 2 months after the baby was born, A mutual friend had told me that she had slept with the guy I was seeing while she was pregnant with my godson. So 4 months prior. I asked her about it, and she said it was years ago. It was not. He had told me the truth about it. Anyway, she said it was shitty of me to be hurt by it, and that she was sorry. She even asked me to be the godmother. Neat.
That's a tough situation. Trust can really take a hit when you find out something like that. It's hard to navigate friendships when boundaries get crossed, especially with something as significant as being a godparent. I get why you'd feel hurt. Loyalty means a lot. Her reaction just adds to the mess. Sometimes people show their true colors when things get complicated. It's a lesson learned, I guess.
Back in college, my roommate and close friend started dating my ex-girlfriend behind my back within 24 hours of a breakup. 3 girlfriends in a row. He ended up marrying the third after we graduated. Needless to say, it felt very single white female, and we are not friends anymore. The first time it was like, that silly dude, why didn't you tell me? The second time it became weird, and the third time it broke up our entire group of friends and made me feel like he'd been sniffing my underwear the whole time we lived together.
That's a tough situation. It's hard to stay friends when lines get crossed like that. It's a weird place to be when someone you trust goes behind your back, especially multiple times. Relationships can really change dynamics in friendships. Sounds like it was messy and left you feeling uncomfortable. Sometimes it's just better to cut ties and move on from that kind of situation.
My alcoholic man gave up alcohol. For me. Not for her 6 children, but for one of her granddaughters. Nobody expected it. Nobody thought she would ever quit. Yet she did. She died a few years ago now, but she was sober for over a decade. My aunts and uncles still keep pointing out that she gave up alcohol because of me.
That's a strong story. It's interesting how a simple bond can make someone change their whole life. It says a lot about the impact you can have on people, even when they have their own struggles. The fact that she chose to be sober for you shows how much you meant to her. It's a bittersweet memory for your family, but it sounds like she found her strength in that connection.
My neighbor seemed to be a normal guy. He had a nice family, a great job. Nothing seemed to be out of the ordinary. One day, we see in our local newspaper that he was caught putting cameras in his bathroom at his office to spy on people peeing. We were in shock. He ended up losing his license to practice, got a divorce, and moved out of the state. He is still being sued by his employees, but since all the tapes were destroyed before he got arrested, he didn't get charged anything severe criminally. We were in shock how this quiet family guy could turn into a sexual predator out of the nowhere. I guess we just didn't see the signs.
It's wild how someone can seem so normal and have a dark side. I remember hearing about a friend who got caught doing something similar. One moment he was the guy hosting game nights, then we find out he was recording people without them knowing. It was a big mess. People you think you know can surprise you in the worst way. Just goes to show, appearances can be really deceiving.
A former good friend of mine and his wife manipulated, and still are, a good mutual friend of ours into paying for their rent, groceries, and other medical bills multiple times as we can't afford it. We have a kid, or whatever other sob story they make up. Meanwhile, they have a brand new car in the driveway and multiple maxed out credit cards. This mutual friend is now believing that this is normal for their relationship, and when he visits from the other side of the country, he buys their groceries, pays for booze, pays for cab rides, etc. I called him on this, told him this isn't his responsibility, and he justifies it by saying that he wants to make sure that everyone has a good time when he's around, and that people are taken care of. I told him this wasn't his responsibility. I lost a lot of respect, if not all respect, I had for my one friend and his wife. Always thought they were better than that.
It's disappointing when friends take advantage like that. I had a similar situation where a buddy kept asking for money, claiming he was struggling. But then I noticed he was always out getting new gadgets and eating out. It messed with our group dynamics, and I had to step back. It's hard to watch someone get manipulated and not be able to change their mindset. Trust really takes a hit in situations like this.
Worked with a young lady when I was up north, small town, omitted for privacy reasons. She was a pretty girl, seemed to be easygoing, seemed to be very happy. One day, she doesn't show up for work. Learned the next day that she hung herself and had been battling depression for quite some time. Just goes to show, you never know what's going on beneath the surface.
That's really sad. It's tough when someone seems okay on the outside but is struggling inside. Her story highlights the importance of checking in on others, even if they appear happy. People often hide their pain. It's a reminder to be supportive and reach out sometimes. You never know how much someone might need it. It makes you think about the struggles people face, even when they wear a smile.
Went to school with this guy from Ford Red Up. In high school, he would keep on all the girls he was friends with and help us if another guy was being a dick. Hell, he came to my 17th birthday party and ran his friends off because they were complaining that it was boring. For years later, he was arrested for molesting his kid.
That's a pretty wild twist. It's strange how someone you know can turn out to be completely different than you thought. It makes you question everything you remember about them. You think you know a person, but sometimes they're just hiding in plain sight. Just goes to show that appearances can be really misleading. It's a tough situation for everyone involved.
My brother had this friend in high school. He was funny and very polite and got along well with my brother. We had to move to another city, but my brother still kept in touch with him by phone. Years later, he suddenly calls at my brother's home at night and tells that he's in town with some friends and he wants him to pick them up in the airport and that they're staying in his house. My brother was dumbfounded because he wasn't asking, he was demanding him to take him and a bunch of strangers in his house, just like that. My brother, of course, he said no, and the other guy got furious and started calling my brother names, even threatening to beat him. We thought he might have been drunk or something, but it didn't really end there. After that, he started to harass my brother by phone, calling just to insult him or calling in the middle of the night just to hang up. My brother was very depressed because he considered him one of his best friends, and he has no idea what the fuck happened to him. He had to change his phone number, and only after that the harassment stopped.
That's a rough situation. It's wild how people can change. One minute they're friendly, and the next they're acting like a jerk. It's really unsettling when someone you trust reveals a darker side. Your brother must have felt lost after that. Sometimes it's hard to understand why people behave like that, especially when there's history. It's good that he cut ties though. You gotta protect your peace.
Our neighbor seemed to be a normal, maybe a little alternative guy, always listening to punk rock, going everywhere by bike, and helping me with stuff around the house sometimes, fix the water pump and stuff like that. He was always a cheerful person, greeting me whenever he saw me and stuff. I moved out 3 months ago. My parents lately told me that the SEK, German SWAT, nearly stormed our house a few weeks ago, though after looking at the doorbell with our name on it, found out they were wrong and stormed our neighbor's house instead. He moved out 3 days before in a terrible hurry. No one thought he could have this sort of trouble with the police.
That's wild. The guy seemed like a decent neighbor, always helping out. It's strange how people can surprise you like that. You think you know someone, and then bam, they're involved in something serious. The fact that they almost stormed your place because of him sounds intense. It's a real reminder that you never really know what's going on behind closed doors.
My brother was friends with this guy, and as we lived in the same house, I became friends with the guy as well. Turns out, he was on drugs, banging a minor. He was 20 at the time, she was 16, agree of consent is 18, and working illegally so he didn't have to pay taxes. Oh, and he was cheating on his girlfriend, hitting her, and forcing her to let him live at her apartment rent-free. Yeah, The cops were called. Oh, and his girlfriend's neighbor's apartment caught fire one night. Her apartment was fine, but this douchebag texted her to tell her to drop his Xbox at his parents' house so it wouldn't burn. He never asked if she was okay. He also stole from his friends regularly. Not us, thankfully.
That guy sounds pretty messed up. It's crazy how you can get close to someone who turns out to be so toxic. Friendships can sometimes blind you to the red flags. His behavior shows a complete lack of respect for everyone around him. It's wild how he prioritized material stuff over people's well-being. Glad you weren't involved in his shady dealings, but it must have been a roller coaster watching it all unfold.
I went to high school with this quiet, kind of awkward kid. He was in a few of my classes, and we had mutual friends. He was weird, but he was always super nice. 2 years after high school, people from my class started sharing an article, so I read it. Turned out the guy wound up killing another guy over a small bag of weed. It really threw me off.
That's a wild turn of events. It's strange how you can know someone for years and then see a completely different side of them. He always seemed harmless, just trying to get by. Makes you realize that you never really know what someone is capable of. It's kind of unsettling. Life has a way of surprising you, often in ways you don't expect.
Guy I went to school with 3rd to 12th grade, who was very involved in church and mission work and was just generally a nice person, started dating a girl. She broke up with him after a couple months, and his response was to set her church on fire. Burn down the whole thing. He is currently in a mental hospital.
That's a wild turn. You think you know someone, and then they do something unexpected. It's strange how someone's life can change like that. I remember a friend who seemed so normal but ended up making some pretty bad choices. It's a reminder that you can never really know what someone is going through. Hopefully, he gets the help he needs.
I thought my brother had the perfect marriage. They always got along well and seemed happy. Then one day he decided they weren't happy, so he started cheating on her. Then his wife got pregnant and he walked out less than a month after she gave birth. He never tried or wanted to reconcile. Turns out the girl he cheated on her with is the same girl one of my friends cheated on his wife with, and she was also married at the time. Basically, my brother went from this great, normal, happy guy to a scumbag overnight. To this day, I'm not 100% sure what caused it all, but I'm pretty sure it's all the new girl's fault. But that doesn't excuse him from turning into such a big disappointment.
It's weird how people can change so fast. My brother seemed so settled, then out of nowhere he lost it. The whole situation with him cheating and leaving his wife is just a mess. It's like he forgot everything he had. I get that sometimes people may feel trapped or something, but to just flip like that, especially after a kid's born, is tough to watch. Makes you rethink what you thought you knew about someone.
Had a friend that was super dedicated to school and extracurriculars. Got accepted to a bunch of great colleges, had tuition set from their parents' military stuff and scholarships they qualified for. Strongly liberal Jewish girl. Moved to the Midwest and got knocked up / married by / to a super conservative Christian dude with loads of bigoted views. Wouldn't have ever guessed that given infinite guesses, haha.
Life can be pretty unpredictable. My friend had everything lined up, a bright future ahead with college and scholarships. Then she moved and ended up in a situation no one expected. Sometimes, people change or find themselves in unexpected circumstances. It's intriguing how life takes different turns for everyone. You think you know where it's headed, but then reality throws a curveball.
I'm 29 years old. Since I was 10, I've been friends with this guy. We dated some when we were teenagers, but always good friends. After college, our contact would wax and wane, but I always considered him to be one of those people I could call on in a pinch and vice versa. A few months ago, we saw each other in person for the first time in years. Had a great time hanging out, started texting more regularly, and I was really psyched that we had renewed our friendship. Then about a month ago, he just stopped. No response to texts, no nothing. The last message we had exchanged was very friendly, nothing out of the norm. I'd worry that something had happened to him, but he's still active on FB, posting pictures, etc. I even sent him a message on there wondering if maybe he had gotten a new hashtag or something. No response. I could take a hint, but damn, getting cut off from someone you've known most of your life hurts.
It's tough when a long-term friend goes quiet like that. You think you have this strong bond, and then out of nowhere, they just disappear. You start to wonder if you did something wrong or if they're going through something. It's frustrating to see them active online but not reach out. Sometimes friendships just fade, and you have to accept it. Still, it stings when it's someone you've known for so long.
I grew up with and went to the same school from kindergarten through high school as the cannibal cop. He was a year older than me. We were never good friends or anything like that, but we both would interact with each other every now and then. I had no idea he would ever end up on the cover of the New York Post for cannibal stuff. He never actually committed a true cannibal crime, but it was still pretty bizarre behavior. He always seemed like a normal dude growing up.
That's an interesting story. It's surprising how people can turn out differently than expected. I mean, you shared school years with him, and it's wild to think he went from your class to such a strange headline. Just shows how complex people can be. Someone you see as normal can have a completely different side. Makes you wonder about others you know. People really can surprise you.
Probably my sister. She's 5 years older than me. Still lived with the family at age 22. She didn't do well at school and didn't really manage to get going after, so everyone kind of just expected her to stick around. My parents have a big house, so they gave her 2 rooms with own kitchen, etc., because they thought she'd probably life with them for a long time coming. One night, she packed all her stuff and left, breaking all contact with the family. I haven't seen her since. It's been about 4 years.
That's a tough situation. It's interesting how life can take unexpected turns. Your sister probably needed space to figure things out. It's sad not to see her or know what she's doing. Families can put a lot of pressure on each other, and sometimes that leads to distance. Hope she's doing okay wherever she is. It's always a mixed bag when someone you care about just disappears.
Somewhat similar here. Boss and other colleagues led me to believe that I was on a track to be a bigger player in the company, while they were secretly hiring my replacement behind my back. I was promised they'd do everything in their power to help me find another job. Then they immediately stopped responding to phone calls and emails once I cleaned out my office.
That sounds rough. It's tough when you trust your boss and colleagues, thinking they have your back. I once had a similar experience where I found out I was being sidelined while they were bringing in someone new. It's disappointing when promises turn out empty, and you realize you're not really valued. It makes you rethink your loyalty and future in a place like that.
Please consider subscribing if you enjoy. Love.